Canal du Nivernais and the River Yonne together combine to form one of the most beautiful and certainly one of the most popular waterways in the whole of France. But when this waterway was first conceived, it wasn't as a navigation at all, but as a log floating system. In 18th century France, the prime fuel for domestic heating was firewood, and Paris obtained its supplies by felling the trees along the banks of the Yonne and floating the logs downstream, first on the Yonne and then on the Seine, of which the Yonne is a tributary, right into the heart of the city. But 18th century Paris was a rapidly expanding city, and its demand for firewood soon outstripped supply. It was proposed, therefore, to extend the log floating system right up into the forests of Morvan, up on the watershed between the Yonne and the River Loire. Work started in 1784. By 1786, it was proposed to extend the works to form a barge navigation linking the Loire to the Seine. But then the French Revolution put an abrupt end to all those works. When the canal was eventually opened to through navigation in 1843, some 60 years after it was first conceived, everything had changed. Firewood was no longer required as a fuel, as it had been displaced by coal. And some 30 years after the canal was opened, France adopted the Freycinet standard for barges, which required bigger locks than those that had been built here on the Nivernais. So the Canal du Nivernais was something of a white elephant and was never a commercial success. What little traffic there was gradually dwindled as more and more of it moved onto the railways, and by the 1950s it seemed certain that the canal would close. Then in 1964 something happened that would change the fortunes of this canal forever. The White Line Cruising Company opened a hire base up on the summit. The Department de Nièvre immediately saw the leisure potential for the canal and persuaded government to hand over control for the central section. The 10-year programme of restoration and improvement that followed guaranteed the future of the canal and gave us very much what we see today. Right, that's the end of the history lesson. Let's go and discover this wonderful waterway for ourselves. We picked up our boat at Migennes, just off the River Yonne on the Canal de Bourgogne. The boat had been kindly loaned to us by Connoisseur, one of the principal boat hire operators in Europe. They have a massive fleet based here. Ours was one of the largest cruisers, with 10 berths and 3 ensuite bathrooms. Up on the flying bridge you can barely hear the engine, which is mounted right down in the stern of the boat. You seem a bit out of touch with it somehow. Having said that, the boat turned out to be surprisingly easy to drive, the powerful bow thruster letting you conceal your mistakes and recover from them with a certain amount of panache. We were surprised to see 2 ancient Freycinet peniches still working on the canal, and it was confirmed to us that they do still carry freight, although they were clearly running empty here. We locked down off the Canal de Bourgogne onto the level of the Yonne. The boatyard had organised a fishing permit for us, and one of our crew wasted no time in getting down to it. The wide, slow-flowing river is immediately attractive, passing through heavily wooded countryside. It's administered by the Seine Navigation Service.